Have you ever wondered about the bones of a story? What did the outline look like before the characters hijacked it? Ophelia Key always wondered the same things about her own stories. As a discovery writer, the chaotic pantser style, not even the author knew how the tales in the Druid saga would go until they went backward, analyzing one story while busy writing the next tale or two somehow never happened. Apparently, OK put things off long enough, and some fancy computer magic will provide us with those long-wished-for story overviews. We can finally X-ray the tales from the dream and see their skeletons. Shall we investigate the next story in the dream?
So, what happens when a disgraced knight, absolutely buried in guilt, is the only person who can save a traumatized young woman just reborn into a terrifying new reality? Well, that is the question right at the center of Gryphon Knight Atoned, the third volume in Ophelia Key's Druid Dominion miniseries. Today, we're going to deconstruct its world, its central conflict, and the two souls at the heart of this incredible paranormal romance.
Welcome to the dream. I mean, how simple is that? It's mysterious, it's inviting, and when you pair it with a landscape that looks like this, it just immediately pulls you into a world that feels ancient and magical all at once. This really is the promise of the entire saga.
And to really get what's going on in this particular story, we actually have to zoom out for a second, because it's part of a much bigger, much more sprawling universe known as the Druid saga.
You know, the author didn't just pick the word saga out of a hat. No, this was super intentional. She defines it as a long story of heroic achievement that chronicles a dramatic history. So right off the bat, we know this isn't just some standalone book. It's one piece of a huge, interconnected puzzle. And the world of Druid, it's not just one thing. It's this incredible mix, right? It's a tapestry woven together from steamy paranormal romance, magical realism, a bit of urban fantasy, and even a touch of what's called noble dark fantasy. It all comes together to create this really unique feel. Just picture that for a second. A world where every myth, every legend, every single fairy tale you grew up with, they're not just stories. They're real. They could be walking right past you on the street. That's the bedrock of this whole series, the magical living right alongside the mundane. But here's the thing, a world where myths walk free, yeah, that's almost never a peaceful world. And at its core, this whole universe is, well, it's broken. It's fundamentally unbalanced, and that creates a massive driving conflict.
And this quote right here, it's kind of the mission statement for the whole saga. It tells us two absolutely crucial things. One, the stakes are insanely high. We're talking about restoring the balance of magic itself. And two, the way they do it is really unique. One fated couple at a time.
So you see, Druid isn't just a place you can find on a map. It's an immortal kingdom, a fortress, basically, built for one single reason, to fight back against the forces that have thrown the magical world into complete chaos.
Okay, so we've got the world set up. Now, let's zoom back in and meet the first of our two main characters in Gryphon Knight Atoned. So, here he is. Meet Marshawn Gautier. He's this ancient, super powerful Gryphon shifter. But when we meet him, he's a knight who has fallen. And I mean fallen hard. His whole story is about atonement. See, he got stripped of his rank for doing something pretty drastic. He kidnapped a fire elemental to save his people. A noble cause? Maybe, but the consequences were huge. Now he's just consumed by guilt and depression. This guy who can wield lethal lightning magic is trying to find redemption by doing manual labor, and his entire life has narrowed down to this fierce devotion for the fated mate he's pretty sure he doesn't deserve. And this quote, man, it just perfectly captures where his head is at. It's not just that other people see him as disgraced. He sees himself as a condemned criminal, totally beyond hope. All right, so on the complete other end of this fated connection, we have our second protagonist, a young woman whose normal, everyday life is about to get, well, blown apart. This is Leilah Durant. She's just a 20-year-old college student. And this picture, it really represents that fragile human life she used to have, a life that's about to end in a really brutal way. Leilah's story kicks off with this incredibly violent trauma. She gets stabbed by her boss, and just as she's about to die, she's saved.
But she's not the same. She's reborn as something totally new, a one-of-a-kind Gryphon vampire hybrid. She's innocent, she's fragile, and she's completely overwhelmed by this new reality. A reality made 1,000 times more dangerous by the volatile green lightning she can't control.
So there you have it, the fallen knight and the traumatized hybrid. Let's dig into how their two incredibly different paths crash into each other to become the real heart of this story.
And that's really the big question, right? How in the world do these two people, from completely different worlds and with totally different problems, end up with their fates so completely tangled together?
This breakdown shows you just how connected they are by being total opposites. Marshawn, he's an ancient immortal trying to make up for his past. Leilah, she's a brand new immortal just trying to survive the next 5 minutes. He's a master of his magic, but he's crushed by guilt. She's a victim of her own magic, overwhelmed by trauma. They're basically two sides of the same coin. And this whole opposition creates this life or death situation for Leilah. First, she's reborn as this unstable hybrid. Second, her new magic is totally out of control, this destructive lightning. So third, to even survive, she has to accept a consort to stabilize her power. And the fourth step, the big twist, the only one who can save her, her fated mate, is the disgraced knight, Marshawn. So even though she's been through this horrific trauma, she feels this deep, instinctive sense of safety with him. Her entire life now comes down to one choice. Can she trust this stranger, her fated mate, and bravely promise to, as the book says, submit to his dominance, just to survive? And this is what Marshawn promises her. And you gotta understand, this isn't about control, it's about protection. It's about absolute, unwavering devotion. He promises to guide her through this terrifying transformation and then just stay. Forever. For him, this is the redemption he never, ever thought he'd get.
And that, right there, is the heart of Gryphon Knight Atoned. It's a story about two people who are completely broken, but they find a way to save each other. And in doing that, they create a new balance, not just for themselves, but maybe for the whole world.
Which kind of leaves us with this big final thought, right? Is real redemption found by paying for your past, or is it found in the courage it takes to protect the future you're building with someone else?
I sincerely hope you enjoyed this view of a story skeleton, glimpsing the characters, setting, and plot structure along with the twists within the writing in this tale from the Druid Saga by Ophelia Key. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more original stories and audio adventures. A special thank you to OK Music Writers for writing and for sharing the Enter the Dream soundtrack. It's more than a story, it's an experience. Welcome to the dream.